Greetings, YouTube! The Doctor is in! Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons & Dragons, and welcome to the channel that takes power gaming to the next level. Today on the Doctor Spell Prognosis, we're talking about the spell Delayed Blast Fireball. We're giving this spell a B+. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. All right, so Delayed Blast Fireball is a 7th level spell that is usable by wizards and sorcerers, but not warlocks for some reason. But it is a 1 action casting time with a range of 150 feet, a 20-foot radius blast, which is very similar to Fireball because this spell is based off of Fireball. Verbal, somatic, and material component, which is worthless, so we don't care. It lasts for a minute, or can last for a minute, with caveats, and requires concentration, and you do want to concentrate on this spell. So a beam of yellow light flashes from your pointing finger, then condenses to linger at a chosen point within range as a glowing bead for the duration. When the spell ends, either because your concentration is broken or because you decide to end it, the bead blossoms with a low roar into an explosion of flame that spreads around corners, just like a fireball. Each creature in a 20-foot radius sphere centered on that point must make a dexterity saving throw. A creature takes fire damage equal to the total accumulated. Now, that's a different word than fireball because, remember, this has a duration, and we're going to talk about that. So they take equal to the total accumulated damage on a failed save, half as much on a successful one. So the base damage is 12d6. At the end of your turn, the bead has not, if at the end of your turn the bead has not yet detonated, the damage increases by 1d6. So you cast a spell at the end of your turn. If the bead hasn't gone off, then it becomes 13d6. So if anything perturbs it, it's going to be 13d6. At the end of your next turn, it becomes 14d6. At the end of the next turn, it becomes 15d6. All the way up to 22d6 if it can go for 10 rounds. If the glowing bead is touched before the interval has expired, the creature touching it must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the spell ends immediately, causing the bead to erupt in flame. On a successful save, the creature can throw the bead up to 40 feet. When it strikes a creature or a solid object, the spell ends and the bead explodes. Of course, and this is a rule, this is this goofy rule in 5th edition. Objects that are worn or carried are automatically not flammable. So that wonderfully dry piece of papyrus scroll that you're holding in your hands will not catch flame unless you put it down on the ground. And then it's very flammable. But as long as you're holding it in your hand, it will not be set on fire. The clump of dryer lint that you are holding in your hand is completely invulnerable to fire as long as you are holding it in your hand. But the second you put it on the ground, it bursts into flames. So, just something to think about. At higher levels, when you cast a spell using an 8th level slot, the base damage increases by a d6, which not really... I don't think it's worth it to cast this at a higher level spell, a higher level. All you're getting is a couple of more damage dice. It's a 7th level spell, so you can start out as a base damage of 13 or a base damage of 14, and that's it. So you're just starting out at a different place. But there are things you can do to make this spell, or to think about this spell in different ways, or to make it more efficient or enhanced, or how you want to think about it. All right. So I want everybody to pay attention to this right here, and that is the glowing bead touched by a creature. I want you to notice that this is an evocation spell. I want you to notice that this is an evocation spell that affects other creatures. If we are an evocation wizard, beginning at 2nd level, you can create pockets of relative safety within the effects of your evocation spells. This part right here is flavor. Beginning at 2nd level, you can do sculpt spells. When you cast an evocation spell, Delayed Blast Fireball is an evocation spell. Check. That affects other creatures that you can see. Delayed Blast Fireball affects other creatures that you can see. Check. You can choose a number of them equal to 1 plus the spell's level. Okay, that's 8. The chosen creatures automatically succeed on their saving throw against the spell. Delayed Blast Fireball causes you to make a saving throw when you try to touch the glowing bead and when it explodes. Thus, that creature, those chosen creatures, will automatically succeed on their spell. And they take no damage if they would normally take half damage on a successful save. But with this one, if you have made that creature through Sculpt Spell automatically succeed on their saving throw with your Sculpt Spell as an Evocation Wizard, they automatically make this Dexterity saving throw because Delayed Blast Fireball is an evocation spell that affects other creatures that you can see. So you just go to the person you can see that could be affected by Delayed Blast Fireball and say, you're going to make your save. They make their save. If they can make their save, they can throw the bead up to 40 feet. So this is where I'm getting. If you are going into a combat, and you know you're going into a combat, and you know how soon you're going into a combat, this might be a good spell to cast, and you can assign safety to your party members ahead of time so that you can sit on this Delayed Blast Fireball until it is pretty maxed out, and then whoever you have made safe can grab it and throw it. And they will automatically be able to succeed here, and they will automatically be able to throw it. Okay, let's talk about a different thing. Sorcerer. So what kind of sorcerer would we possibly want? Well, maybe Bloodline. Okay. Bloodline sorcerer. Fire, so that's gold, brass, or red. So you can speak as magic flows through your body, blah, blah, blah. It's elemental affinity is what we're looking for. When you cast a spell that deals a damage type associated with your draconic ancestry, you can add your charisma to 1 damage roll. It's okay. At the same time, you can spend 1 sorcery point to gain resistance. This is just okay. It goes along with it for flavor, but even more importantly, if you're an elemental adept, you gain this feat and you choose fire. Spells you cast ignore resistance to damage of the chosen type. So if you got some demons or something that are resistant to fire, now they're not. In addition, when you roll damage for the spell you cast that deals damage of that type, you can treat any one on a damage die as a 2. So that means it's going to do a minimum of damage. So you can kind of mitigate that. Lastly, if you are a sorcerer, you can extend spell. So when you cast a spell that has a duration of 1 minute or longer, 1 minute duration for Delayed Blast Fireball, check. Spend 1 sorcery point and you double its duration to 2 minutes. But you need to be able to overcome this part, either for you or for a compatriot of yours. So for you to be able to throw it. If you leave it sitting out there, if you make it go somewhere past you in the 100-foot range, an enemy can pick up that particular Delayed Blast Fireball. They can try, and some have pretty good dex saves, and they'll pick it up and they can use it against the party. You do not want that to happen, so it's better to keep it near you and have somebody throw it and mitigate the risk of throwing it. Now, if you were a wizard sorcerer, you could have a couple levels in wizard, which means you now have Sculpt Spell as a evocation wizard, and then you can combine it with the rest of the wizard or the sorcerer in addition to the elemental adept and the extend spell. And now all of a sudden, instead of something that can do 22, it does 32 d6 with a minimum of 2 points per die plus your high charisma. So that's a lot of damage. All right, that is what I got for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.